What is that classroom teacher going to do if a student has bronchospasm, says, oh, I feel like I'm wheezing, and they're in a lockdown mode? Do students carry their inhalers? Some of them have self-carry orders. Some do, maybe older students. Do you know that a can of Mountain Dew has enough caffeine in it, or a cup of coffee, to relax the smooth muscles of the bronchial tubes? That's called the Cochrane Report. It is known as the study that shows this to be evidence-based research. All right, so if every teacher just has a can of a caffeinated beverage in their office and you tell them someone has signs of asthma, or they say they're not breathing and they have a diagnosis, that's probably what you can do. Give them the caffeine. It relaxes the bronchial tubes, according to this research, for up to 4 hours, enough to decrease the wheezing and maybe get students through a crisis. So if we were in London on the Ferris wheel or locked up in an office for 6 or 7 hours a month ago when they had the incident, what did the people on the Ferris wheel do if they didn't have their medication with them? All right, so we're just trying to look ahead, plan ahead for scenarios that could happen, we hope don't happen, but if they do, we have some sort of preparation in place. After Sandy Hook, we hung Ziploc baggies that look like this around the school. We had one by the AED, and new AED cabinets are coming through with places to put things. You notice they have a shelf, some of them, for the EpiPens, for the trauma bag, small trauma bag, first aid supplies. They have a place for the naloxone. So our emergency supplies, the concept is they should be available but secure. So one thing to think about is if someone's bleeding heavily, 4x4s are not going to do it. How many 4x4s would you have to open? Quite a few. In fact, in Pennsylvania, 3 years ago, there was a stabbing. A mentally ill parent came in the building, went right into the office, stabbed a few individuals, including the principal, and then went sporadically down the hallway, stabbing teachers and children. 19 people were stabbed, 3 were critically stabbed, but all survived. The school nurse was there that day, and I talked to her, and I asked her, now, what is the lesson from this? The lesson, she said, is I ran out of gauze. I had not enough 4x4s, and it took me so much time to open them to get enough to make a pressure dressing. So these are called multi-trauma dressings. They're nice. They're a few dollars, or even less if you get a case of them. And they can fit into your bags that you have around the school. Maybe you have them by every fire extinguisher. You just duct tape them to the wall. There's nothing in there that's going to hurt anybody. And when you open that dressing, it's this big. You can even cut it and have several dressings. You can also use several maxi pads. They also work. You could just throw them in your bag right now. But these are the multi-trauma dressings. They're also great pressure dressings. If you put pressure on this dressing, on a severe head laceration or severe bleeding in any part of the body, the protocol is 5 minutes of pressure without looking. Now we have a temptation to like, oh, what's going on under there? And then something comes out that we didn't want to see. So multi-trauma dressings.